and then dry off half of it at a time, just like this. I feel really aggressive doing this. And then short stop, just because then I feel like the water goes like this. There we go. Welcome back to Maxi's kitchen. Today I'm gonna show you how to make a Caesar salad from scratch. We're gonna make the croutons from scratch. We're gonna make the dressing from scratch. And in that process, you're gonna learn how to make an aioli or a mayonnaise at home from scratch. I'm also gonna show you my trick to washing romaine lettuce. I think it's one of the more annoying things in cooking, but I have a method that makes it really easy. So excited to have you here. Thank you for watching, and let's hop into it. So first, what we are gonna do is we're gonna make our homemade croutons. Actually, one thing to note is I actually most often make croutons with old bread, or like if you know my sub recipe, which is super popular, check it out if you haven't tried it yet. With that, I pull out the center of the bread because it's like this huge loaf of bread and I don't want there to be so much, the sandwich would be like too big if you leave all the bread in, and then I'll make croutons out of that. So if you have old bread or bread that's gonna go bad, it's a great time to make croutons. Because I'm doing the video for you guys, I got a fresh baguette, which also works. And this is La Brea. A lot of people ask me like, what kind of breads do you like? I live in LA. La Brea and Tartine are amazing. But I grew up in Northern California. We got like semi-Freddy. So honestly, for croutons, it doesn't even matter though, because like you're gonna crisp it up anyways. So what you're gonna do is just chop this into cubes, and they can be kind of whatever size. I'm gonna do this one into 3, and then I'm just gonna chop like this. And you can make them smaller. These ones are a little big actually, but it'll be just fine. Okay, now we're gonna take our croutons and put them in the bowl. And I think I'm actually gonna save this half of the baguette for something else. Okay, so now we're gonna dress our croutons before we bake them. So start with some olive oil. And you wanna be pretty generous with the olive oil because you want them to kind of fry up almost in the oven. Then I always do some Parmesan, especially for Caesar. Garlic powder, which adds just like a delicious garlicky flavor. Oh, that was a lot. Maybe don't do that much, but it'll be okay. And then salt, because we want it to be nicely seasoned. I might even add some pepper as well. Okay, and some pepper. Perfect. And now we're gonna, oh my gosh, all kinds of chaos today. Okay, now we're gonna mix them up more carefully than I did the first time. And happy Friday. It's Friday today when I'm filming this. But funny story, so Doug and I met at Square, the payments company. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I think it's fine. We both worked in tech. We met at Square, and I was just like right out of college. So I literally went like from my sorority to working in tech. So I thought it was just like every day at work was just like this big social event. And on Friday, I used to just go up to everyone and be like, happy Fry, happy Fry. And I loved talking to all the older guys and whatever. And that's where Doug and I met. I got a crush on him. But he said he actually thought I was really annoying when we first started working together, which I'm like, because I used to get in at like 6 a.m. and like bang the phones and make a million calls because we were in sales. And he was like, who is this girl who's made like 30 calls by like 8 a.m.? It was yours truly. So these are looking good. I think the garlic powder is gonna be fine. We didn't ruin anything. Remember, cooking's not that serious. It's just supposed to be fun. So now we'll put them on a baking sheet. Okay, so onto a baking sheet. And with croutons, along with like anything that you're roasting, you wanna make sure it has space, because if things are too close together, like even vegetables that you're roasting, then they'll steam actually instead of kind of crisping up. It's always better to use like even a bigger baking sheet than you need, or if you're filling up a big baking sheet, just split it onto 2. And then I still have some of this cheesy stuff on here, and I'm just gonna like get those bits onto some of the croutons. I could even kind of use some of the croutons to scoop up those cheesy bits. And then I'm gonna sprinkle it with a little bit more salt, because who doesn't like a salty crunch? I think everybody likes that, or at least I love a salty crunch. Okay, I've teleported to the oven. Depending on how big they are, it could take 10 or 15 minutes, even maybe a little bit less if they're really small, and you wanna kind of move them around halfway through. I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes, check on them, it'll probably take closer to 15, and the heat is 375. Okay, now we're gonna get prepared to make our Caesar dressing from scratch. And really the only thing that you need to chop up is these anchovies. I'm grating the garlic, so if you don't have like a microplaner or a grater that you want to use for the garlic, you could just chop those with the anchovies. I just got these at Trader Joe's. I don't have like a go-to anchovy brand, but I love them. I think they add a lot of kind of like umami and rich salty flavor to any dish. A lot of times, actually, I'll even put these in like a pasta sauce, and it doesn't, you wouldn't be able to tell because it doesn't have like a fishy flavor, but it just kind of blends in and adds a really, really good kind of umami, meaty, salty flavor. So we're just gonna go ahead and chop a few of these up. My recipe calls for 3. I think I'm gonna do 4 today because why not blast it up with the fish? It's good. But if you're not a big anchovy fan, you totally could leave this out. I don't know. I think it like makes it, so I'd definitely recommend it if you're open to trying it, but I know some people are grossed out by tinned fish, which I get. I can see how it's like, could be a little bit meh. So just go ahead and chop these up finely. Okay, so just scrape it up until we're ready to add it to the dressing. Okay, I'm checking on our croutons. Timer hasn't gone off yet, but I'm just checking on them and they're looking pretty good. So I'm just gonna kind of like move them around, flip which sides on the bottom. Looking beautiful, yay. Okay, now let's make the Caesar dressing from scratch. And I think this is a great skill because you're actually making a homemade aioli or a mayonnaise first, and then we're turning it into a dressing. So I just think it's a good skill to have, and I think you'll be shocked by how easy it comes together, and it's just kind of a cool thing to make. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the egg yolk separated from the white. So we've got our egg yolk here, and we're gonna add lemon. So half a lemon. And then we're gonna add a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And the mustard will actually help stabilize the mixture and it'll help it emulsify. It adds a little bit of flavor, but it also helps with kind of the chemistry of the mixture and making sure that the fat emulsifies. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna whisk this together. So now you've got kind of your base, the egg yolk, the lemon, and the Dijon. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly drizzle in some vegetable oil. Now, I try not to cook with vegetable oil because it's, I don't know, I know it's not a good oil. What is it, like highly processed? I don't really know the why, but I know it's not the best oil for you. But I have tried making Caesar dressing with olive oil and it just has a little bit too strong of an olivey flavor. And then it's also very yellow. And it just didn't look right. I think I would love to try with avocado oil, but I think it might be a little bit green then. So I don't know, this is kind of one of those things where I'm like, maybe we just stick with the vegetable oil and just like do it the right way and like whatever, everything in moderation. I think it's fine. So slowly drizzle in the vegetable oil about a teaspoon at a time, get it all emulsified, and then add more. And you'll see that this mixture will start to thicken up. And a tip actually that I'm not doing here is you can put a damp towel under your bowl to help stabilize it. So that's a tip if you want to do it better than I am. No, but we're doing okay here. And one thing I've actually noticed since I started my YouTube channel is I feel so much more comfortable now in front of the camera. I feel like my first couple of videos, I was like, I don't know if you could tell, but I felt honestly nervous and I was like, oh, it's the YouTube day. I felt all stressed out. Now I'm like, whatever, we're chilling, this is fun. Like, and even though hardly anybody watches my videos yet, maybe one day they will, I'm glad that I built that skill where like now I feel super comfortable in front of the camera. I'm improving and I kind of built a skill. And by the way, if you are one of the people who is watching my videos, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Okay, so just keep adding this in and you'll see that the mixture will continue to thicken. And once you get to this point, towards the end, you can just pour the rest of the oil in. You don't have to be as careful as you were at the beginning. Okay, let me check on the croutons because I didn't set a timer, which is, you know, there's always a risk of burning things when you don't set a timer. So they're looking quite good actually, right? What do you think? Should we try one? Really good, but needs a little longer because they're still soft in the center, which is, you want them like a little bit, but a little longer. Okay, cool. So this, see how it's like much thicker now? This is an aioli, this is a mayonnaise. So that's how you would make a mayonnaise at home. Now we're gonna turn it into a Caesar dressing. We're gonna grate in our garlic. I call for 1 clove, but have you ever at the store gotten a head of garlic and it's like all these tiny cloves? It's so annoying, it's the worst. So that's what happened to me. So I'm gonna do 2 because they're small. And I love this microplaner for grating garlic because I think usually you don't really wanna get like a big piece of raw garlic. Then I feel like I start getting stressed about my breath, whatever. Like, it's not something where I need to be getting like a huge chunk, so that when you grate it, it just gets much more distributed throughout. Now we're gonna add our gorgeous anchovy. Just a tablespoon of water. This is optional, but I like to thin it out a little bit. And then Parmesan cheese, of course. Yum, 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 yum. Delicious. Now mix that up. Yay, yay, yay. Looks great. Okay, there's our gorgeous dressing. I feel like these look perfect. Okay, I'll show you. So I just used the like organic romaine hearts. This dressing is enough for like 2 to 3 heads of romaine, depending on the size of the heads. I'm gonna show you the easiest way that I think to like prepare and wash romaine, because it's kind of a pain to cook with romaine, because like washing lettuce is annoying. The spring mix where you don't have to wash the lettuce, that's way less annoying. Cut the romaine into, you don't wanna cut it too small. So into like, you know, kind of large-ish, how many inches? 1.5 by 3 inch pieces. Just kidding, it doesn't have to be that exact. Then what you do is put it in a salad spinner. I like this one. This one is OXO Good Grips brand. And then I'm gonna fill this whole thing up with water and soak the lettuce. Okay, so now this whole thing is filled up with water. So I just kind of like rinse it through. You know, there'll be little pieces of like sand or dirt or whatever, bugs. Disgusting. So this way, if you just kind of like, you know, do a nice rinsey rinse, then all of that stuff will fall to the bottom. And then what I do is like pull it out like this. And usually I'll do like the rinse piece twice. And then I'll show you how we dry. This is reminding me of doing laundry for some reason. And guess who's the laundry man in our house? It's Doug, it's not me. Doug does the laundry, which I appreciate. He does most of the like cleaning and housework, and I do all of the cooking. We've got a very clear division of labor in this household, but it works for me. Oh my gosh, I just have to show you, look how much dirt and sand there is in that. It's kind of gross. So I'm definitely gonna wash this one twice. Okay, and now to dry it, I try to dry in less large sections. So let me just move, I usually move like some of the lettuce out and then dry off half of it at a time, just like this. I feel really aggressive doing this. And then short stop, just because then I feel like the water goes like this. There we go. Okay, now for the fun part, the assembly. So pour on your dressing. Then I always like to add some shaved parm, and you can shave it by hand if you want. Add some croutons, and I like to add some in, and then I'll save some to put on top. Go ahead and toss it around. Oh my gosh, it looks good. And I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. And then on any salad, salt and pepper always does some good magic. Okay, so go ahead and plate it. So it looks amazing. And then make sure that there's a few croutons showing. I think that always looks nice. And then add some more shaved parm. Yay, delish. Okay, let's see how it tastes. Oh my gosh. So good. You get like that saltiness from the anchovy, but it's super subtle. It doesn't taste fishy. And then you get the creaminess from the Parmesan, a little bit of acid from the lemon. Oh my gosh, gotta try the croutons. Crunchy, but it gets coated in the dressing. So it's just like the best texture and salty. It's just the best. I think this is like an amazing dish that you could either make on a weekday at home just for yourself, like I'm doing right now, or you could make it as the starter of an amazing meal when you're hosting. I think it's very versatile and it's easy, and I'm telling you, store-bought dressing will never taste this good. So thank you for watching. I truly, truly, really appreciate you for watching the video, and like and subscribe if you want to see more like this. And I'm sending you so much love, and have a great rest of your day.